Right, okay, back with another League of Temur Tower. Um, Very similar to the list I ran last week, but with a few changes. And by changes, this isn't stuff I've put together, but it was kind of things I was thinking anyway. Played a PPTQ this Saturday gone. Ended up going 3 and 2 for the dreaded ninth position, which somehow feels worse than any other position, apart from maybe last. But I've had a look at the list that Andre Stratsky recommended as the best way to go forward. I've run it through a league already and gone 4 and 1 with it, so hopefully a similar result here. The main differences to the one I ran last week, I believe we've got some Radiant Flame sideboard, Confiscation Coup. It also comes into the sideboard, as do a couple Dragon Master outcasts. More and more people are just taking out all removal against this deck, and bringing the outcast can really catch them off guard because they just won't have a way to answer it. And this deck tends to hit its land drops. Got some dispels, a little less heavy on Release the Gremlins. In the main board, a 4th Torrential Gearhulk has come in. We're now running 4/4 Disallows, 3 Negates, 3 Aether Thief, a couple more Shocks. Incendiary Flow and Natural Obsolescence are also in the main board now. I believe the main cut off the top of my head is the 4 Rogue Refiners. I had enjoyed Rogue Refiner, but I can kind of see the reasoning is that you do often leave the opponent with a lot of dead cards in hand, removal-wise. And with Rogue Refiner, often you're just giving them something to do with that card, and although it hit the table, it was basically just 3 mana, 2 energy, draw a card, which isn't bad, but given the prevalence of basically being the 2 main decks in the format now, 4 color Saheeli, where everything is pretty much 2 toughness, and Mardu Vehicles, where a lot of the creatures are 2 toughness, dialing up on Shocks seems relevant. So we are gonna give this one a run and see how it goes. Again, it's a deck that I have been enjoying for sure. And I've got another PPTQ, my local PPTQ on Saturday. So I'm just trying to get in some reps for the deck, because after this it's like, who knows what will happen. There's standard bannings on Saturday. Sorry, after that Saturday PPTQ. It would certainly be interesting if Mardu receives some bans, because I don't know what they would ban. Like, some people have mooted Third Eye Guardian because I guess the Saheeli decks keep out a lot of other combos. Some have mooted for Heart of Kiran or Gideon. If they do ban something, I wouldn't mind seeing Gideon go. I'd prefer they ban nothing, because I think another set of bans would be pretty rough for a lot of players. But if they do have to ban something, I can see Gideon weakening Mardu's top end a little bit. And from a personal selfish point of view, as I found playing this deck against Mardu, Gideon is pretty much not unbeatable. Which isn't great. Found an opponent. Anything after that is like, for me, off the top of my head, I don't think there's any big standard events coming up. I will take my focus towards modern at that point until Armaket comes out. This is not a keepable hand. If one of these Shocks was an Attunement of Ether, I probably would keep it, but unfortunately this is not. Opponent is also mulliganing. This is better. It's not fantastic, and only Negate could possibly stop something too nasty. A Toon will fix our mana and hopefully gets the Glimmer of Genius without too many problems. We do get the Scry as well. Opponent has gone down to 5 and 4. I mean, we don't really have a hand that can punish a mulligan. I would keep a Harness Lightning. It means we won't attune turn 1. But I do like keeping Harness Lightning because a Negate can deal with some nasty things. Harness Lightning could deal with a really early aggressive play. Spiral of Canal gives me some intimations that we are going to be playing in a match. We're going to get an over our tune because we run a lot of double blue spells. Did not mean to play the island there. Between Torrential Gearhulk and Disallow, the main ones. no green from our opponent, so they could be on Grixis, or just guy of some description. So having a negate in hand isn't too bad. The harness, less so. Okay, we're against a Dynavolt deck of some description. So let's get that one out of the way. Torrential Gearhulk isn't bad. There is a question here. Opponent just ran out that Dynavolt. Because this could be a spot to resolve a Glimmer. Could help us find our lands to cast this Gearhulk. Because the chance, well, if we do it end of turn, they tap out, we always have the same option open to us. Let's not tap out, because, I mean, they did just run out that Dynavolt tower, they might just run out another one if they've got it, because Dynavolt is certainly the most powerful card in the mirror, along with Gearhulk. Resolving a Gearhulk tends to be pretty fatal. Shielded A for Thief, also very good in this matchup, I find. Our Glimmer resolves, so I'll definitely keep another Glimmer. Kind of like keeping Anticipate as well. Just having stuff to do that matters on their turn is quite nice, and it's just going to help us dig for those extra lands and stuff. Because unfortunately, despite the mulligans, we might just fall behind the land race. Opponent does nothing. I'm going to go for a Glimmer again. Natural Obsessor isn't a bad one here because it can deal with a Resolved Dynavolt Tower. Shock, no. Forest, yes. Okay, that's pretty nice. That's our land sorted for a while. I mean, it is very interesting. I'm trying to think what our opponent has in hand, unless it's all removal, because I tried to not let Glimmer of Genius resolve in the mirror, and they've let 2 go at this point. If my opponent glimmered, I would certainly counter it, purely because they are stuck on lands, and their hand could easily be something like Harness Lightning, Gearhulk, or something. I'm going to keep this Lumbering Falls. It's actually very hard, good in mirror. It's quite hard to deal with. We'll put the Aether Hub away. And here I'm going to play Island. This is just going to... we are going to have to discard here. I'll put away the Harness Lightning, because if we need to use it, we can. I'm just going to keep up the island here for double Disallow. I don't quite want to run a Gearhulk into that just yet, without some backup. I'll take our 4th Glimmer. Still trying to quite discern what's going on with our opponent's hand. Play a Lumbering Falls here. Because our opponent's still on 5 cards. It is a case of like, what do they have in hand? I will push for to resolve another Glimmer here. Nothing again. I'm going to keep both of these. I kind of like feel one of the routes we can take here is just kind of keeping ahead of our opponent in resources. And for that reason, wouldn't be able to keep up Gearhulk, but we might want to do that. Yeah, I like keeping up to Disallow. We could ditch a Natural Obsolescence. Because we've got... I mean, maybe we shouldn't have Glimmered there, I don't know. Oh, actually, sorry, I can't count. For some reason I thought even playing A for Thief would... Well... we could play A for Thief and hold up 1 Disallow. I actually like that. It does turn off the double Disallow and Torrential Gearhulk for a turn. But A for Thief is a powerful card in the mirror. At the moment, there are 3 cards which can be drawn off this. It's likely going to eat one of the removal spells that's still likely in our opponent's hand. Oh, they're going for Anticipate. I wonder if they're like missing a colour because they're low on energy. Because we're still not sure it's Temur Tower. This could still be. When I played the PPTQ, there was Esper Tower, Grixis Tower, Temur Tower, and Jeskai Tower. So there's certainly variance, put it that way. Let's cycle our attune. It's possible we should hold that up, just in case we draw a Dynavolt Tower. Yeah, this I'm going to disallow, because, I mean, purely because it appears, I mean, we could have Torrential negated there, actually. It does appear that our opponent is in some problem with their mana at the moment. And also, like, they're tied up on mana. They haven't shown much of anything to do, so I feel fine kind of stopping that process. Especially because the energy just means we can keep drawing cards with this Aether Thief. If my opponent had removal in hand, I would expect them to have used it by now. I'll roll an Aether Hub. And we'll pass. Basically now I'm waiting for a window to get the Gearhulk through. As it stands, we've got Gearhulk and a disallow. Our opponent hasn't really shown much intent on countering stuff. Like letting us resolve 4 glimmers. So we could try and fit it in here. But at the same time, I mean, we've got 3. We could easily wait. I mean, are we being too passive? That's the question. Probably. So, but, okay, finding another Gearhulk certainly hastens that decision to try and force one through. Because if we lose this fight, then certainly we can pick that fight again with this. And they've got to have 2 counters in hand, and if they use up all the mana for 2 counters, I'll just resolve a Gearhulk after that. So Gearhulk resolves. I have to admit, I am at this point extremely curious as to what is in my opponent's hand. This is going to put us way up on cards, because, God, we've drawn so much more than our opponent. But I'm just going to go for the Glimmer again. Because at this point it feels like we can force through a tower. And I feel like that would be game. Put the Flow on the bottom. I'll put the Aether Thief on top. Because we can flash it in now. Meaning less like we have to discard some things. And also, that means we'll start drawing 2 cards a turn. Perhaps. I have to admit, I am extremely curious as to what's in the opponent's hand. Because I think removal would have been used on these unless they're desperately saving it for a Gearhulk. Let's play a Canal. So yeah, very curious. Because if they're off a colour, like they'd have to be like have all black cards in their hand. Because they can't have counterspells. Unless the counterspells are like horribly awry. It just doesn't make sense to me. That's a Harness Lightning, but that only goes up to 5. So do they have a follow-up Harness or a Shock? Galvanic Bombardment. Maybe it's like blue-red thing in the eyes. I will disallow this though. And then if there's a counterspell, we'll flash in the other Gearhulk. So this is what they're saving the Counterwall for. We can actually fire off 2 more disallows. But I feel safer going for another Gearhulk. Okay, yes, that's this game. Okay, so this looks like it might be straight blue-red. I think the plan remains largely the same, is that removal comes out. It's possible they keep some in, but like if they keep in small stuff, the towers should do a role, should have a role there. Gear Hulk, the plan would be to not let that resolve. And then what comes in? So counter wars always call for dispels. If they are a Dynavolt tower deck, then we'll probably want to release the gremlins. Bringing in some Word of Virtuosos will punish them for not having removal, as will Dragon Master Outcast. If it appears they have kept in a bunch of removal, we can move to bringing in like the Negate and Actual State. Maybe Confiscation Coup. I've seen people bring Confiscation Coup in the mirror, I'm not impressed by it. When you're playing a mirror match where people have fairly low cost counter spells, a 5-mana sorcery doesn't feel where you want to be at. I had someone resolve 2 against me in a mirror game. It's just like they then lost due to not being able to counter Dynavolts. Opponent mulligans to 6 again. We have to mulligan. That hand is not good. This is fine. Would be nice to scry the 3rd land to the top. Oh, for a second Dynavolt tower though. So this hand can go very wrong. Because at the moment, like, we're miles away from Gear Hulk. Negate will buy us some time, and Anticipate could be quite key. I'm just going to feel like land, like in kind of control mirrors, having lands is so important that I don't want to risk. I want to give myself as much chance as possible of finding them. So, because having a second tower is going to be useless if we don't get to 3 mana. Fumarole's played, so a bit more inclined to think that this could be a straight blue-red version. Galvanic Bombardment in the first game is also kind of making me lean that way. The opponent can have their Anticipate. Because Galvanic Bombardment, like, I feel you would only run in a dedicated deck. If you're another colour, it certainly feels like there are better options. If you're Grixis, you'd play Fatal Push. Once again, our opponent just rolls out the tower on 3. It does stop us anticipating. Now, our opponent could easily have artifact removal ourselves, but this feels like a golden opportunity to try and resolve our own tower. Like, if I was in my opponent's position, I would not have played the tower on 3 unless I've got, like, another one in hand. Because the risk of something like this happening is quite devastating. One of the games I won at PPTQ on Saturday was against Grixis Tower, and the key play was they tapped out to resolve a tower, and then they did make it resolve a counterspell backup, but all that did was allow me to... It basically allowed me to then resolve 2 towers of my own, and that was just it. Okay, so of note, opponent missed a 5th land drop, so all action in hand. I kind of like all of these, but hitting the lands is really important. My cat is going to come through that microphone so hard. Yep. Another tap land, unfortunately, so we've got nothing to do this turn. Hopefully we'll be able to start glimmering soon. Our opponent's probably going to resolve a glimmer here. Yeah, that's not great. What can you do? Well, they definitely found land that time. And I'm feeling a little bit vulnerable. The opponent's kind of shown a strong inclination, so they brought in their own Word of Virtuoso, so we might want to keep in some removal. Our opponent's shown very little inclination to actually play around counter magic, so I was worried they'd just go straight up release the gremlins there. Speaking of, this isn't the most threatening Word of Virtuoso in the world at this point. It's certainly not enough for me to just risk casting Glimmer of Genius here. Very strong chance there's a negate. And Word of Virtuoso can run away with things if there's enough energy to back it up. I think I had a chance to flash this in and may have missed it. Yeah, like, Virtuoso can be annoying if they run away with the energy quickly. If they only ever get a Fopter or one out of it, it's kind of okay. Alright, I'll go for the Glimmer. We'll see if this gets countered. Looks like it will. Yep, that's a negate. So still disallow mana up for the opponent. Speaking of, I think the plan is to flash in an Aether Thief to block a Virtuoso. Opponent now at 6 mana, so that's the key Gear Hulk mana. We can flash in this Aether Thief and hold up a disallow though. Wow. Okay, so Word of Virtuoso definitely isn't coming in now. I was not expecting horribly awry. I am actually half tempted to try and counter this though. Because Thief resolving kind of shuts down this Virtuoso. If opponent taps out, well, if opponent taps out, then we still have to draw land for the Gear Hulk. Doesn't feel like that's what we want to fight over. Feels like there'll be bigger fish. I was super surprised to see horribly awry there. I don't know if our opponent is just like lacking sideboard options, but like that's a. I would not have kept that in just to fight for shielded Aether Thief. I mean, possibly they expected us to bring in Virtuoso, and that's why. But yeah, colour me surprised. Unfortunately, falling behind on the mana game is impacting us a little bit. But finding that Dynavolt tower 5th energy is quite nice, so that's going to take out the Virtuoso. We have to start watching out for Wandering Fumarole as well. That's going to start adding on some fairly hefty damage at some point. Okay, well now I'm going to take down the Virtuoso. Potential that this gets disallowed. Okay, that I'll negate. I'm prepared to have a counter war over this, because worst case scenario, it gets us very close to being able to use a tower again. And if our opponent just taps out all their spells just to fight this, it gives us a shot at resolving a Torrential Gear Hulk. So disallow, disallow. So that's disallow the original disallow. Basically, I can't think of any counterspell now they can have that's going to deal with Gear Hulk. So if we win this fight and then we get to resolve a Gear Hulk for a Glimmer, that's going to be quite nice. Or we could release the Gremlins and hit 2 Thopters. That's also a possibility here. Okay, so if we Gear Hulk, we'll almost... I mean, actually, release Gremlins is a bad idea, because there's actually a good chance that this is a negate that's held up. So let's just do the classic main phase Gear Hulk. Watch me be proven wrong as I talk about there being no counterspell that can deal with this. Can't think of one. There is a chance the Glimmer of Genius gets countered, but the important thing is that we'll get to cast it, because that'll take out a Thopter. If it resolves, we can probably take our opponent off negate. We'll keep anticipate. Did we play a land this turn? Yes, we did, so I'm not going to keep Ireland. Huh. Did I just say earlier that we didn't bring in Word of Virtuoso? Because we totally did. So, we have tapped out. There is potential for things to start going wrong with this turn. We could have a resolved Dynavolt tower. So, we're not out of the woods, but Sunnyfield are in a better position. Them having 2 Wandering Fumaroles is also a bit of a concern. Okay. This is interesting. There could be another disallow in our future here. I still feel... So before blocks, I'm going to activate the Dynavolt Tower. Because it feels like... Okay, it felt like that was a setup for me to block that Fumarole and then get Harness Lightning or Galvanic Bombardmented. Harness Lightning doesn't kill anything. We can't now kill a Thopter. But if we find a counter spell, we... Okay. So this indicates a disallow or void shatter. I think we lead out with a release the gremlins. So we do that for red, blue, green. That leaves us with double red. Yeah, I think we release the gremlins for 1 to kill a Thopter, ticking this up to 5, and then we play a Whirl of Virtuoso. And then we play Dragon Master Outcast. Or do we just play a Dragon Master Outcast? Or... we could play a Dragon Master... Alright. What could our opponent be holding up? We could attack and see if that draws anything. Although there's a chance they activate this Fumarole. That last turn felt like a bit of desperation. So I think let's just keep the board clear. Because we get a 2-2. We get a Dynavolt trigger. We remove a creature from their board. Now the downside is if they then resolve a Dynavolt Tower. I'm now going to attack. Question is, do you then... I think I'm going to play the Dragon Master Outcast. I would like to hold up Anticipate to be able to find Negate and Dispel. But I also like the idea of holding up Anticipate and finding just Dispel. Okay, so they had another Horribly Awry. Well, if we find a Dispel that went... Yeah, I'm going to go for this now. Because if we find a Dispel here, there's actually, at this point, nothing we can anticipate into that could counter a Dynavolt Tower. It's possible that all this was completely incorrect. We're going to take a tune because it's basically a land, except it gets us 2 energy. It's a shame that the Dragon Master Outcast doesn't resolve. It's possible there's different ways to do that. If we go to a game 3, knowing they've got Horribly Awry, I would almost board out every... Okay, so they brought in their own Dragon Master Outcast. That is interesting. So I think we want to bring some amount of removal back in. I think we want to do it for our creatures. Because I think if we're going to play a control mirror, the way they are taking this, we can play control better. Because if they're just going to go in on a bunch of Horribly Awrys, and then we take out almost every target for it, it's going to be pretty bad for them. Here, I think the best plan is take one off the Thopter. Ooh, Harness Lightning does change things a bit. Okay, so now I think we have to take out the Fumarole. It puts us too close to lethal. We can easily fire off another Dynavolt. Opponent is also now hellbent and out of cards. So attune. Get another island. We're going to play that island. I'm going to Dynavolt this down. And then we're going to attack with Gearhulk, because we can't block this Thopter anyway. They've got no cards in hand, so if they draw anything, we can deal with it with Gearhulk Dissipate, Gearhulk Disallow. Then we've got 2 Gearhulks. We'll have 2 energy from casting something. Then we'll play a Whirl of Virtuoso, have the energy to bolt down anything. So yeah, I think we've pretty much got it at this point. This is something that can't be... If unless they play Banefire. They could have a counterspell of their own here. That is worth noting. But I think it's still safe not to do anything. So we've got 5, 6, 7, 8 mana, so we can't Gearhulk and Whirl of Virtuoso. Okay, let's attack, see what happens. It's possible you would still flash the Gearhulk in there to win, but it does feel like one of the ways to lose is to flash in the Gearhulk there, get it countered when our opponent resolves something we can't deal with. But we win! Game 1 down. Blue-red Dynavolt down. See you for Game 2.